All right, everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. Scoring the players after a 5-0 loss to Manchester City. Performance-wise, wasn't the best. Results-wise, even worse. City go back top of the table, and we somehow managed to get a worse result against Man City than we did earlier in the season. I'm, of course, joined by Steve, and we're here to score all the players for you. However, this is an interactive show as well. Please let us know in the comments down below what you think every player should be scored, and if we're chatting waffle or if you agree with us as well. And don't forget to drop a like on the video as well, because it does help us out. Right, well, get things started. Steve, I'll give you the honour of starting things off. In goal, Martin Dubravka. We talked a lot during the game, about needing a new goalkeeper for next season. Dubravka has got a mistake in him. What did you make of his overall display today?
4. Simple as. He just doesn't command his box enough, and something with the communication with the cells that led to the fourth goal. I want to say fourth goal. Needs replacing, in my opinion. He's been a great servant to the club and all that. I understand. I think he'd be a great backup, but I'd like to see competition for him, to be fair. I mean, that's just me, but I
think personally,
kind of fell off a bit. He's just kind of fell off a bit.
Yeah, he was at fault, not fully at fault, but could have stopped at least 2 of the goals for me today.
Yeah.
I think it was the header at the near post for the third one, and obviously the spelling of the ball for the second one. I think it was. I think 4 is probably fair. I mean, there was one spectacular save where he tipped over the bar. But yeah, Noodleman in the comments saying there seems to be some communication problems with the defence and the goalkeeper. So a couple of times, yeah, Jamal Lascelles especially just miscommunicating with his goalkeeper and ended up, conceding a corner which led to a goal. Yeah, not great all round from not a great display all round really. From everyone. And yeah, Dubravka 4 out of 10 is what we're giving. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree with that and what you would give him if you don't agree. But of course, it is open to interpretation, but I would obviously tend to agree with you there. We'll move on to the was a back 4 today, not a back 5. And Emil Kraft, excuse me, he was our right back today until Trippier came on for him in the end. I'm gonna be a bit generous here, because I think he probably doesn't deserve as high a rating as he gets here, but I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 because he was by far not the worst defender in our back line today. I think that he dealt with Grealish quite well. Grealish obviously had a lot more space and time when Trippier came on. I think that's credit to Kraft. The one criticism I will lie at his door, though, is for the third goal. Rodrigo was his man from the corner and he lets him go. And obviously Joe Linton lost the header at the front post, but that was Kraft's man to begin with. But
that's an entirely preventable goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pseudonym saying twice we needed men on the post for set pieces didn't help matters yet. And Dubravka, would have been helped by a man on the post. Kraft would have been helped by a man on the post. But we didn't do it. Don't know why. It's something you get taught from school at a young age here. You always have men at the post from set pieces. Didn't seem to happen today.
I know that, and I'm just a dumb American. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's that. And again, I think Joe Linton should get some fault for that too, because he's looking too long at De Bruyne, and like, use your peripheral vision, man. Like, this is too easy. That was
Andrew saying in the comments, you always got the impression a few people's heads are already on the beach. Yeah, it looked like it today, didn't it? I mean, obviously.
I want to see it change side.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't want to form this habit of poor performances, even if it's the end of the season and we're 99% safe. Yeah.
Obviously, much better team and Manchester City than us today, but not a great performance all around. So we've had a.
It's going to take about 5 years, by the way. Need quality in the summer if we're going to compete with teams like this. Yeah,
we saw glimpses of it against Liverpool. Obviously, only a 1-0 defeat there. We perhaps could have got a result, but just torn apart by Man City today. Got it all wrong.
Yeah,
we've had a 4 out of 10 from Martin Dubravka, a 6 out of 10 from Emil Kraft. Moving on to Jamal Lascelles, Steve, captain today, captain of the club still. We discussed it during the game. Probably not Premier League quality anymore, is he?
No. I mean, shouldn't your captain be the one communicate, like being the one who communicates effectively. Like, why? A lot of questions for Lascelles. It was bad. He just panicked a lot. To be honest, I'd say about a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just looked out of place. He looked completely out of place.
And
not captain material, to be honest, anymore. He's a great servant and all that, but
he just doesn't have the composure that you need in a captain. Yeah. Obviously gave the corner away with a miscommunication with Dubravka for the third goal. Just headed it out for a corner when he didn't need to. Dubravka could have easily caught that ball. There was no pressure on it. Good tackle to stop Foden scoring. I think it was a fourth. That
was.
But at the same time, it was also his man that he let go in the first place. So
and it was already 3-0.
Yeah. So joint worst rating so far for Jamal Lascelles. So I'm sure we'll see some other low scores as well. So I'm sure he's not the worst player on the pitch for us. Let us know in the comments down below your ratings as well. We've had a couple in already. Andrew saying Lascelles 2.
I mean, he wasn't good.
Obviously, not a great performance from him. Should be leading by example and just simply did not today.
Yeah.
Another player that kind of lost his head halfway through the game. Dan Burn, usually so solid for us, and yet it just not a great performance for him today. He's a big man, and he was up against quick players today. We know he's not the quickest in the world, but he's probably the better of the two centre-backs, but not great just generally. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10 personally. I don't know if you think he deserves more or less than that, Steve, but
about 4 or 5.
Yeah,
not a 6. I feel like I think he got the right idea with trying, because he realized, all right, I'm not quicker than who we're up against, so I need to drop back deeper. The problem is that he's playing guys on side.
Yeah,
that's the problem. I'm sure there's something tactical you could do, or something that you could coach in him. I'm not going to slaughter him though, because it is against Man City.
Yeah, I think that he's not helped by having someone like Jamal Lascelles alongside.
Yeah,
he has a much more competent defender alongside him. It takes less risks and gets less exposed. Personally, like, he's a good defender, but he can't do it all by himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Target, Lee in the WhatsApp group that we've got, said that this was Matt Target's worst game in a Newcastle shirt today. We saw him wrestling with Sterling a couple of times and was just exposed by the lack of defensive cover on that side. João Cancelo and Sterling running absolutely riot, especially in the first half. What would you give him out of 10 today, Matt Target?
Probably about a 5. About a 5. And I said this for when the goal that was ASM's fault, when he's not tracking back, it makes Target look worse than he is. You can't have passengers. I'm not trying to absolve Target of blame. I don't think he was at his best. That's why he's getting a 5. It's a team game, though.
Yeah.
You make your teammates look worse, or you change the result if you make a mistake. It's a team sport.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to toe the line and play their part. Target, again, he wasn't at the best. He gets a 5 out of 10. I think he could have done a bit better positionally. At the same time, I want you to name me a fullback that can deal with Raheem Sterling and João Cancelo at the same time. I'd like you to name me one, because I'm not so sure. Both of those, both João and Sterling would have to have bad games for a fullback to be comfortable with them and have a good game.
I mean, yeah, it says a lot when we've gone through the defense with the ratings, and Emil Kraft's your best defender in the game against Man City. So, Burn was onto a beating with the guy next to him to look after. Yeah, I mean, when he's got to babysit his other centre back, he's never going to have his best game. So defense is done. Martin Dubravka 4, Emil Kraft 6, Jamal Lascelles 4, Dan Burn 5, and Matt Target 5. Let us know your ratings.
You say Target's a 5? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or am I absolving him of too much blame?
I think if 5 at the very most. I don't think he was any better than a 5. I think you could maybe argue for a 4. But I don't think he was our worst defender by any stretch of the imagination. He was exposed by saint-maximin not tracking back. A lot of the chances did come from his side of the pitch, and he has to take part responsibility for that.
Yes, exactly.
But, like you said, saint-maximin has to take his share of the blame in that as well. And it's not solely Matt Target's fault. However, he really was terrorised by Raheem Sterling today.
Yeah.
Like, we saw that twice when he just literally just wrestled him to the ground
Yeah.
because he couldn't cope
Yeah.
with his pace. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below if we're chatting rubbish, if you think anyone deserves higher or lower. And don't forget, please, to drop a like on the video. It helps us out massively. So it helps us out massively. And subscribing to the channel as well. We want to get those numbers up. I think we got around 60 likes on the watch along. So see if we can beat that today on scoring the players. And don't forget to let us know in the comments down below your scores as well. It's an interactive video after all. So it would be nice. We've got currently 8 likes on the video. Let's see if we can crack 10 by the time
55 watching. Get at least half.
Come on, people. But we're going to move on to the midfield now. It was a midfield 3 of Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, and Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff still in search of a new contract. Thought today he could have put in a performance that would secure that contract for him. I'll take him today because it wasn't his worst performance, but I think one of the comments summed it up perfectly earlier when it said Sean Longstaff was invisible today. He had a few good touches in the first half, but he really didn't put his stamp on the game. He wasn't particularly effective defensively or attacking either. I'm going to give him a 5 because I think he was just that. I think he was average. He had some good touches, but was just really, really invisible today for me. I wouldn't be surprised to see, well, depending on where John Joe Shelby and Joe Willock are, I don't know why they missed out today, but I'd expect one of them to come back into the starting lineup instead of Sean Longstaff today. Excuse me. But yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. Don't think he was any better or any worse than that. Do you, Steve?
I just didn't notice him much, to be honest. Like I said, he's a local guy. I think we all want him to succeed because that is the dream for a fan, to see a local guy. You know, that everybody would love that. But like the sentimental stuff, this is about winning football matches, and with our owners, we've got big ambition. I'm not convinced that he's going to be a part of that, really. Like Andy said here after that game, Longstaff, he needs to have Hollywood games between now and Burnley. I mean,
I think if he does sign a new contract, he's not going to be a first-team player, like a first-team starter. He's going to be a role part player. He's going to come off the bench from time to time and just secure those games that we're winning. And he's not an impact player to come and make a difference off the bench. He's the kind of player you bring on when you're 1 or 2-0 up to just secure that lead that you do have. And I think the contract that he would sign would reflect that. And if he's not happy with that, then he probably will go elsewhere. Jackie's absolutely right in saying he's not going to take us to that next level, and I agree. Wow. But you do have to have those players in your squad like the fact that he's a local lad, he knows this club inside out. He's a fan, has been since life, been with us for God knows how long. He knows the culture of the club. And like you said earlier, with the mentality in the dressing room, you need players like that in the dressing room. I think he's key to that, but he's not good enough to be realistically to take us forward. He might start a few games next year, against the lower sides in the table, or if we've got like a
FA Cup,
congested fixture, that kind of game. But he's not, like Jackie just pointed out, he is not going to take us to the next level. And I think you saw why today. He just disappeared in a game against quality opposition. So not the best game
for Sean. I get your point about, we need those kind of players. But the thing about Dummett is that he's 30 years, or what, 30, 31, 32? He's up there in age, right?
Who's this, Dummett?
Yeah,
he's up. Yeah,
but Longstaff's 24. He still could have a good career. So if I were the Longstaffs, it's one thing with Paul Dummett that he's ending his career here or whatever. Or maybe he'll do one more thing somewhere else. Who knows? But the thing with Longstaff, you still got 10 years maybe, or 6, or however many. You might want to move out because it's just like, what do you think I really don't think it's been a benefit to either of them that they've been for their careers. Have they progressed at all over the past few years?
I don't know. Yeah.
Not really. I haven't seen that. And they're not 25 yet. So I would get a move out, to be fair. Go to Scotland or something, or maybe go try abroad. I don't know. I I just think it's kind of the end of the line, to be fair. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe they could be world class, but just I don't see it happening. I really don't. And this is a good point, Greg Monks. Bruce is responsible for the lack of his progression. When you're a young player from 20 to 23, that's the most important time to develop and get first team minutes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's not like these guys are goalkeepers where it's like most clubs in the world have established number ones, and it's some clubs have competition via Real with the Senyo and Rulli. But, you know, these are guys that, you know, they could play midfield. So, you know, find a club somewhere where they need a new midfielder because one's going out. Yeah. Go to the championship or something, or you know, something like that. Like, I just think that 20 to 23 age is so crucial, and they're 24 now, so they should be established somewhere, or at least progressing. Have they progressed? I don't think so. I don't think they have.
No. Speaking of midfielders, though, Sam Mullen has texted to say Willock and Shelby are out for the rest of the season with injuries, which isn't good news, which means we probably will see Sean Longstaff starting the last couple of games for Newcastle United. And moving on to the rest of the midfield today, because there were two other players in there, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton. I'll let you take Bruno, Steve, because he's been the star man recently for us, and he showed again today why he's just that cut above.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably – I would give him probably – he was a class above, probably a 6 out of 10 for me.
Okay, that's all right. Same level as Kraft then.
It wasn't his best game.
No,
it wasn't his best game, but Kraft was probably just about as good as Bruno. I mean, ultimately they weren't as effective. You know, Bruno wasn't effective goals and assists and stuff. So, but I thought he looked for ASM. It's like, that's the other thing that when we get to ASM, but real quickly, it's like Bruno wants to give the ball out. Like he can dribble out of tight spaces and stuff like that and draw fouls, but ultimately he's a giver. So I would say, or even a 7 would work.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, you could tell he's a class above though. Decision-making was good again. I mean, he at least had some bite in him for the yellow. So, I mean, it was good from him. It was good for him. We know that, and keep in mind, Bruno's the same age as Longstaff. How far are those two apart?
Yeah.
You really got to think about it. How far are those? And you know the difference is Bruno got game time at Atletico Paranense and got a move to Lyon. Was a staple in their midfield, and now he's a Brazil international. Longstaff is on the Z team of England, if that. You know what I mean? Like, to me, you know, contrast couldn't be more wide open than it is with Bruno and Sean Longstaff, same age. So,
yeah, that's like good comparison, to be honest, because I hadn't realised. But yeah, they are the same. Yeah, Colin's pointing out the difference is skill.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Sean Longstaff, not his finest performance. Not Sean Longstaff, sorry. Bruno Guimaraes, not his best performance for us, but still a decent showing from him today against Man City, who are just levels above where
I get that, Larry, but I do watch Brazilian football, and it is very physical. It is very physical, and you see a lot of the flopping, and, you know, it's not the same quality level, but in terms of intensity, fan demands, competition, and stuff like that, it's not the quality of the Prem, but it is. There are some things that are, you know, they have in common. So.
The final midfielder that we've got to rate so far is Joe Linton. So, yeah, I mentioned in the watch along, you know, he had a really good link-up play with Alan saint-maximin in the first half, and he got in a really nice position, and saint-maximin just didn't pick him out. I'm going to give him the same rating. No, I'm going to give him a 5. Because I think I would have given him a 6, I think, because I think he had probably one of the better games of the team today, but I think Bruno probably just edged him on rating-wise. But he did all right. He got back defensively and tried to cover when saint-maximin wasn't there. But, you know, it's still 5-0. How good can you really be? And we were just outclassed today. The balls didn't go through the midfield; they went around the midfield. So the midfielders struggled today. We got played off the park. There's not much more to say about Joelinton, to be honest. So we'll move on to the front three. Steve, would you like Alan Saint-Maximin or Miguel Almiron? I'll let you choose.
I'll go ASM.
ASM.
Guy needs to just. I don't know. I'm at loss for words because it's like with Prem refs. It's like what to expect, and like it's just it's frustrating. It's just frustrating because he's got the talent, but like, how many times is he gonna have games where he tries to take on 3 or 4 guys, and it results in the same thing? Don't you think there should be something else? If it's not working, stop trying it.
Yeah,
like Jacob Murphy with that 1-2. We had a comment before that chance with Wilson 1-on-1 against Ederson. Jacob Murphy has nowhere near the ability of ASM. Kept the game simple when he came on, and showed that you don't like. I don't know. There's a lot. Tracking back, he didn't do that. I predicted that at the start of the game. It's one of the reasons why we lost 5-0. Not the reason, but he wasn't good. He was a passenger today. He had 2 good crosses in the first half. So that's nice. And Wood should have put one of those away.
Yeah.
But like Colin David says here in the comments, he's a one-man show. Unfortunately, plays for himself, not the team. If he's not making that Man City squad, because you can't be a one-man show at Manchester City or Liverpool. At Man United, you could. But not at the top. So ASM's got to have a real long, hard think about it, and I don't think it'll happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen this year. It's going to have to be a summer off, and someone's got to get in his ear and be like, "Yo, you've got bags of ability, but like, simplify your game. You don't need to take on 3 or 4 players. You could do that once, and if it works for you." Maybe you're on form that day and you can keep trying it. But if it doesn't work for you after 3 times, why are you keep on trying it? And then the ball turns over and then you're walking back or you're walking at the top of the box. And then Matt Target looks a lot worse because he has to cover João Cancelo and Sterling, who both had great games. He has to know that as a team player, it's not just he's not just the player that's affected by it. It affects the team, because I bet there are some of those players today that saw him being a passenger and they were probably just like, well, if he's not doing it, why should I? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff could happen. It's not that they're bad people. It's like at work. If you see some guy slacking off and no one's yelling at him or whatever, why are you going to bust your ass? If it's nothing,
Yeah. What would you give him out of 10 if you had to stick a number on it then today? Because he did show flashes where he was okay, but yeah, like you say, a passenger.
3.
Okay, so
3.
Worst rating of the day so far with Alan Saint-Maximin getting a 3 out of 10.
If he didn't have those 2 crosses, it'd be a 1.
The thing is with the way we set up today, and someone pointed out in the comments down below, I'm not sure who it is, but why don't we try him on the right hand side again? Because that's where he got the assist against West Ham, and today the two big chances he did create came from the right hand side. So why are we not putting him on his? Because when he's on the left, he constantly cuts in on his right foot, and he's very readable when he does that. So maybe we need to try a different system. A couple of comments already saying that's a harsh rating for Maxi, but let us know your comments. Let us know your ratings in the comments down below. Do you think that's harsh?
I disagree.
It's a matter of opinion. That's what this show is for.
I might get slated, Christy. I might get slated for this, but Maxi isn't getting any big. I don't think you're gonna get slated for that. He isn't elite. He's a Rolls Royce, fantastic pace and skill, and looks amazing. But if you put a Rolls Royce in a racetrack, you can't win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a fair point. And we'll move on quickly because we're running out of time here, because we do have to have the live fan reaction here a little bit later on, which you can come in and give your thoughts as well. Tell Steve that he's rubbish for rating Saint-Maximin a 3. But the final rating is, I'm sorry, not the final rating. The second final rating is Miguel Almiron, which I'll take. Again, another invisible player today. Had a couple of good moments, but really let the game pass him by. I think he was slightly better than Sean Longstaff. He did affect the game a little bit more, hence the extra 0.5 that I'm going to give him. But I'm going to give him a 5.5. Am I? No, I'm not. I'm going to give him a 5 because I don't think he was as good as Joe Linton. But I don't want to start getting into half ratings because we just get silly after that. Yeah, 5 out of 10. Game passed him by. He's got to put in some good performances between now and the end of the season if he wants to seriously be considered for a starting member of this lineup next year. But we'll move on past that. Chris Wood missed a sitter in the first half, like we mentioned, and then had a goal disallowed for offside. Held the ball up really well, I thought, and we missed him when we went off. You saw the lack of possession that we had in the second half when he went off the field. What did you make of his performance, and what would you give him out of 10, Steve?
Wood?
Yeah.
2.
The worst player on the pitch. Why? What would
you gotta score that goal? You gotta score that goal. There's no excuse. There just isn't. I'm sorry. If you score that goal, I don't think Man City are a great team coming back and winning points. To be fair, I think once they get that first goal, yeah, they drop a point every once in a while. But if you get the first goal against Man City, I'm sorry, you got to score that. You got to score that.
Yeah.
When he wasn't getting really any chances in the other games and stuff, and people are giving him 2s and 3s, I'm like, well, but he didn't get a chance. He did his job, but I just Nah, for me, you gotta score that. It just wasn't the game for him at all.
I agree. I think he held the ball up well, but you do have to score that. Callum Wilson does score that, and the simple fact of the matter is he does have to score that, and the game would have taken a different landscape after that, but he doesn't, and he didn't. If my grandma had wheels, she would have been a bike, but she doesn't. So, so Chris Wood, 2 out of 10, currently the lowest score that we've given out so far. And we're going to move on to the subs before we get onto the manager and wrap things up. I'm going to take the first, so the double substitution, the Kieran Trippier and Callum Wilson came on. I'm going to take Kieran Trippier if that's all right, because I think that obviously this is just on the performance that they put in today. I know this is a bit, you take it with a pinch of salt, but I'm going to give him a 2 out of 10 also because we know he's a fantastic player. We know that. That's not up for debate. When he came on, he was absolutely torn to shreds. He's probably still lacking match fitness, fair enough. But we conceded 2 goals, both of which came from his side. He was outpaced by Grealish twice, and he really didn't add much. He had a couple of set pieces that we took, but really didn't add much to the game. I think, of the 2 that came on at the same time, Callum Wilson had much more of an impact than Kieran Trippier.
But Kieran Trippier had a worse injury to deal with.
Yes, no, yeah, and I imagine we'll probably see him start against Burnley, but not against Arsenal.
Yeah,
if he's fit enough to start at that time. So, with a pinch of salt, I'm giving him a 2 out of 10. Let me know in the comments if you think that that's fair or not fair. You think he should be a bit more sympathetic because of his injury. And don't forget, while you're at it, drop a like. We're on 23 likes at the moment. See if we can get that to 30 before the end of the video. Go on then, Steve. Callum Wilson came off the bench today, had a one-on-one with Edison, linked up quite well. Didn't get on the score sheet, though, on his first game back.
About a 5. 5 for me.
5 out of 10?
Yeah, about that. Yeah. He was miles better than Chris Wood. Pseudonym. Got to give him the benefit of doubt. Exactly. But with both these guys. And I didn't think, I don't know. Wilson did all right on his chance. He probably should have scored that, but, he is coming back from injury. And I thought he played well. He was more of a striker than Wood was. So, yeah, about a 5 out of 10. He didn't score. He didn't assist. He wasn't brilliant by any means, but he was all right. He was all right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just quickly address this comment. Jordan, what are these comments delusional? What are people expecting against one of the best teams in the world? We're expecting a good performance. Last week we played Liverpool, who are on for the quadruple, arguably a better team than Man City. Yes, they're behind in the league, but they got further in the Champions League. They've already got the League Cup. They could potentially win the FA Cup as well. They are arguably the better team. We only lost 1-0 and we put in a good performance. What we're expecting is a similar performance against a team like Man City. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking to win 5-6-0 ourselves. We're asking to not get embarrassed every time we play Man City. It was 4-0 earlier in the season. We had a worse squad. And, we had Jacob Murphy and Matt Ritchie starting as our fullbacks that day. We should be doing better than 5-0. We should be doing better than 4-0, which was the score last time. So that's what the comments are on about. You know, we're not saying that we should be going out and beating Man City. They are undeniably a quality team, but we should be putting in a better performance and a better result at the end of the day. It's pretty much all we've got time for on scoring the players. After that, Jacob Murphy doesn't get a mark because he wasn't on the pitch long enough, but we will say he did put in a couple of good chances, created 2 big chances, feeding in Callum Wilson for one and saint-maximin for the other. Really good impact performance from him. Maybe see him start against Arsenal if saint-maximin does get dropped by Eddie Howe. Speaking of Eddie Howe, Steve, set up with a back 4 today and refused to change the system. Obviously, we lost 5-0. What would you give him as how he set up, how he adapted to the game? What would you give him out of 10?
I have 4.
4? Yeah.
It wasn't his best. Doesn't mean Eddie Howe out or any of that crap. He had a bad game against the Premier League champions probably. So I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, no, he wasn't flexible enough. I don't know, just not great. And I think he needs to drop ASM. He needs to drop ASM and a few of the players just because the performance wasn't great. And Arsenal aren't going to be an easy out by any means. So,
yeah. No, I mean, the way going into the game, I was like, yeah, fair enough. Set up, you know, we've used this formation, this system consistently. I can understand why he's not changed it. Personnel wise, I can understand why he's changed the people he has changed. You know, Wood, he started to get us up the pitch, and you know, I think Wood was doing that quite well. You know, he's getting us up the pitch really well. Sean Longstaff in out of necessity, and Jamal Lascelles in because I think Fabian Schär picked up a bit of an injury. But then the thing for me today was refusing to adapt to the game. When he made those substitutions, it looked like he might change the system, might either go to a back 5 or a 4-4-2. He didn't, and we didn't get back into the game. We conceded even more goals after that. So, yeah, poor adapting from him today for me. But like we said, you know, it's not the end of the world. It is Man City. They are a good team. They are going to score goals.
And we're pretty much safe.
Yeah. At the end of the we are safe mathematically. So, you know, this is just more about the performance and the way we lost today rather than the fact we lost today. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all we've got time for on scoring the players.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments down below if you agree with us, if we're too harsh, too soft, anything like that. And if you haven't already, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 30 likes, so drop a like on it if you haven't already. 2 more of you would take us over the threshold there. Steve's going to be back in around 5 minutes time for the live fan reaction. So if you want to, unless you need a longer break, Steve, but if you want to get your thoughts heard on the game today, stay tuned. We're going to end this video and start off with the live fan reaction around 5 minutes on Newcastle Fans TV. So subscribe to us. We've got the last word coming on later with Lee from the stadium and the live reaction from the stadium. So it'd be interested to see what they had to say at the game. Chris piping up. Totally agree with Steve. ASM needs to be dropped. I wouldn't mind Richie on the left of midfield. Fantastic delivery. Yeah. Be interesting to see what Eddie Howe goes with. Will he change it in the next game? We will see. But for now, we'll say goodbye. You can debate all this on the live fan reaction later on. So stay tuned for that with Steve. But for now, we'll say goodbye. Take care